So, are oil filters illegal to possess?
Not inherently,
Right.
but when used in conjunction with a firearm as a suppressor, they can be seized.
They can be seized if they're used that way specifically. Like, it would be almost similar to, like, I don't know, let me put it like this. Possession, if you have a weapons license, isn't illegal, but using your firearm in a criminal way would be illegal. Obviously, if you had a weapons license, right? I'm just using a question, like asking. Is it like that type of thing? Like, you know.
Kind of, but more so like the thing itself isn't illegal until you use it in a bad way.
So it's like a lockpick situation.
Like a lockpick, correct. A lockpick
Correct.
would be a good analogy.
Alright, so can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why can't they be sold?
Who wants to sell them?
I mean, I was interested in trying to acquire some to sell.
I think if are you talking about the storefront people said they couldn't sell them?
Yeah.
I think that is a good question.
I was told it was a you thing.
I'll be honest. If I did say that, I don't recall saying it. I may have.
I was told that basically, I'll give you the quickie.
Yeah.
A list of things was brought to the person that approves those things to be sold, like things to be sold, I guess is the right way to say it. He brought it to a few cops and you, and it was essentially the response given was, we know what that does and what that's used for. No. Which I think is brain dead, to be honest. Personally, that's just my personal opinion. I think if you use it illegally, you should get in trouble, but I don't think the inherent possession of it should be illegal, nor, you know, selling it should be not allowed just because you can do something illegal with an oil filter.
I guess what I would say to that is, if it were an auto parts specialization selling it, I might not have a problem. But
yeah, I think when I was talking to the guy, the only two categories he would ever allow to sell it would be like a hardware shop that's like to do the oil stuff, and then like a mechanic shop.
Yeah, I could get on board with that.
All right, you would be good with that?
If it's in those specializations, yeah.
All right.
It's a mechanic shop or like a hardware store.
Yep.
That would seem okay to me. And then if it were, I mean, I get it's kind of hard though, because how do I put this? It's one of those things where unless you actively see the person with it affixed to a firearm, I don't think there's a way to tell if it's been used or not, because it's already got holes in it.
Same with a lockpick.
Right.
So the thing is, and the way I look at it is an oil
but the
filter.
lockpick's a little different because like there's signs of tampering, right? So for example, like you can just, the cops draw the link between the signs of tampering and the use of the lockpicks, right?
Do you know anything about this
or
oil
a stolen
filter,
vehicle being used in a crime. But with the
What do you
oil
mean?
filter,
I've seen them before.
I guess the question would be like,
I don't
is
know
it
that
enough
much
just to
about
have
one.
gunshots on scene for that to be taken?
But my question is, why does any of this matter if people want to sell them? Like, it shouldn't matter at that point, right? Like, for me, the way I look at it, at least, and this is, I was talking to two other people when we were going through it, is like, if it's not illegal to possess it, and it's not marked to be seized, then what is inherently wrong with selling an oil filter?
Nothing. I think I'm debating internally the. I don't know.
Because that's what I'm trying to figure out about it, because it's something I wanted to do, and then I was told that, and your name was given to me specifically, so I know I can have an easy conversation with you and reach an agreement. Because I agree with you that it should only be those two specializations that sell them. 100%.
Yeah.
So, like, try to explain to me the angle that's, like, holding you up, just so I can understand.
I'm trying to think through logically.
So, do you want me...
It doesn't really matter for this conversation, truthfully. Right. So I can just think about it on my own.
Okay. I mean, I was just gonna say, for me, like, the way that we were talking about it, the conversation we were having is... The way that I would look at it would be if somebody bought an oil filter and then that person was found, like, in the scene of a shootout, I feel like they would probably end up having that taken from them anyway, if they used it in a legal way. So it's not like it matters, because you're not inherently...
That if is the problem, is I don't know how to establish if it was...
And that's not your problem, that's more of a cop thing at that point.
Well, it is my problem, because I make the laws.
Sure, but it's not inherently an illegal thing, which we've been over, right?
I'm trying to understand what you would even get charged with if you, because it's
Do
not
people even get
contraband.
charged for this shit as of now?
Well, that's what I'm trying to think through. Is it's not contraband. I guess you could technically call it a weapon attachment, but proving that it was used, I guess you would have to physically see it on the end.
Yeah, and that's my point. It's not like these things are something that happened yesterday. These things, these oil cans have been used for like over a year now. Like,
right, I think
so like my point is, like, why hold up people that want to actually do shit with it just because cops are lazy, essentially?
I don't entirely disagree. I just also need to understand, were these intended just to be sold at like a certain place, or are they meant for I don't know. Not my issue either way.
Yeah, it's not your issue, right? Because here's the thing: if let's say, for example, it does get the green light, like you green light it to be sold at like a storefront. If there is issues with it, PD, I'm sure, would reach out, and then before you know it, they would either A, become illegal or be marked for seizure, and then obviously at that point they can no longer be sold, because you can't sell something illegal through a fucking legal business.
Yeah, we have turned down people selling legal things before, like the idea of lifers selling shanks and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if a mechanics or an auto parts specialized storefront wanted to sell oil filters, I wouldn't say no. I don't think there'd be a good reason to.
All right, so basically the two specializations of like the mechanic shop or hardware, essentially.
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
All right, sweet. I'll let the person know.
I'd have to talk to like Nancy and Eve, but
yeah,
that would seem to make sense to me.
All right, I'll have a conversation, and then I'll pass it along.
All right, see you.
Sounds good. Talk to you.
Denzel, what the hell is all that about? Care to share the fucking tea?
I want to sell oil filter silencers through a legal business.
Those, holy fuck.